How, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 7th to the 10th of October 2024. Hi, how are we? So, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube, I'm in a slightly different location. Let's talk about that in a moment. Hello, Ree, how are you this week?
Ni hao, Rob. How are you?
Yeah, that's very good Hong Kongian then, Ree. That's literally what
Thank
Ree
you.
just said. What's Hong Kongian for hello is what Ree literally just said before she Googled that.
What is Hong Kongian for
Hong
hello?
Kongian.
I hope I've got it.
I think you probably got Cantonese right. Yeah, so I'm in Hong Kong right now. We're on the first leg of my Asia trip, and I just want to show you this view. You could just about make it out of the window there if you're looking on YouTube. That's not bad.
Oh,
is
your
it?
hotel room looks nice. Can see the reflection more than the view.
It's not bad. I know the daylight's going. It's currently, what time is it over there?
Is that because you're doing it after dark, Rob?
Oh yeah, see the lengths I go to, right? The lengths I'll go to make this branding work.
It is 11:14 right now, Rob.
Right, and it's 6:14 in the evening here. So I quite like this timetable. I quite like having to get up early to do this. I might stay here.
Oh, okay.
I might go somewhere with slightly more reliable internet, but
I was
we'll see
just
how
going to
that
say
goes.
the internet thing could be an issue there.
Yeah. Talking of the internet, so we're going to try our best this week to get everything covered. What we're going to do is slightly subvert what we normally do and go for the bigger stuff first, just so we've got it recorded, and then see what we've got sort of the internet to discover at the end of it. So let's see how we get on. But it's all service as usual. What a week we've had this week. I want to thank Ben Cook for helping me see this week's episodes. We won't say how, but the services I have to provide to see these episodes. Honestly, there are ways and means, and I'm humiliated because of them, but there we go. But thank you very much to Ben for that. And what a week it's been. Quite the week. Some really nice stuff with the David stuff this week, including a comeback I don't think anybody saw coming. So so cool.
No, I did not see that coming at all.
No, so we will discuss that right now in this week's Albert Square After Dark. So we will start with David. I'm just stunned by what we got this week, and I think it is really testament to the characters that we've got back on the show at the moment, and makes you grateful for the fact that we've got these characters. Because can you believe, really, that this week in 2024 we had scenes between Ian and Cindy and David and Kathy as well? It was great.
I know. It was hilarious though, seeing David find that Cindy's back from the dead, and then Kathy. That was brilliant. That was amazing.
Yeah, do you know what? Out of all the scenes this week, and I loved the David and Cindy scenes to pieces, but I actually think my favourite scene was the one with Kathy, a great line where it was just like, what is it? The Walking Dead round here. Who's next? Auntie Pauline. She's going to come wander out the laundrette. Brilliant. So last week you did theorise that David would just happen to be in the area. Were you satisfied that he was here for Bianca this week?
Yes, I was satisfied. All right, Rob. There was quite a few people who commented thinking the same as me, though, as well. So it wasn't that clear. Come on, give us some credit, Rob.
Well, at least that got cleared up in the first 5 seconds. Is that what you want me to say?
You were right.
Yeah, of course, that's what I want you to say. I want you to say that every single week.
Got a phone call from Ricky. Yes. Well done.
Thank you. So, I mean, what I would argue, though, is that the scenes between David and Bianca, they were nice, they were good, they did what they needed to do. But I feel like we were, as viewers, I think we were more here for what was going to crack on between him and Cindy, right? And
definitely.
But do you think that the Bianca and David stuff sort of ended on a satisfying note? Were you kind of happy with how that all progressed? What did you think?
I was. When he initially was leaving and just left Bianca and she was crying, I was like, well, this is awful. He can't just leave like this. Because at that point, I was like, right, he's just back for 1 week, then it is only 1 week.
Yeah.
And I thought, they can't leave it like that. That's horrible for Bianca. So I'm glad that we had that closure of him coming back and saying, come with me. Come on. I want to help you out. And her then actually denying him. At least she saw that he cared. I thought that were actually a really nice scene, that.
Because really, all David did do for Bianca was sort of just... I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that, like, being there as a presence is a huge, huge thing sometimes, just to sort of be there as a moment of support for however long you're there. Mm-hmm. But it did seem that all he really did was sort of turn up, tell her to, like, go to see a GP, and have a bit of pie and mash with her, and then was off again. I don't feel like he necessarily. I have a feeling that if Ricky speaks to him, he's going to be like, "Is that all you did? That's not why I rang you. I want you to be
That
more
is
helpful than
true.
that." You know.
Well, he's got a roof over her head by kicking Reese out of his own house.
This is
So
true.
there's
Like
that.
Reese is. This is Reese. Reese is going to return and still find Bianca just kind of chilling on his sofa. Like, how's that going to play out? I don't see
This
how
is what
Reese.
I didn't get. Like, did Reese go, all right, I'll leave and you two can stay in my
Yeah,
house? So, like,
yeah,
why would Reese agree to
yeah,
that, given what's just happened?
yeah.
But okay.
And Reese has gone. Where's Reese gone to Peterborough or something to be closer to Debbie? Was that the reasoning for it?
No,
I feel
it's
like. Go
Debbie.
on.
Why would he want to be closer to
Oh
Debbie?
well, I
She's
know.
Debbie.
This is what I mean. Yeah.
Sonia.
Oh, Sonia. Sorry, yeah, I'm an idiot. Yeah, Sonia. It's the jet lag. I'm
Right.
sorry, it's the jet lag. I'm going to blame
Jet
any
lag.
mistakes I
I'm
make
going to
this
say
week
that's going to be
on
it
jet
today,
lag.
isn't it?
Yeah, and probably for the next 2 weeks as well because it's a long old
Fair
flight.
enough.
I'm going to blame it all on jet lag from now on. Yeah, so he's going to be closer to Sonia. That makes much more sense than being close to Debbie. I was confused about that. I feel like that was very much sort of just to get Reese out of the way, though, wasn't it? Because I feel like
Yeah.
the Reese stuff and the Bianca stuff that's just going to kind of rumble on. We wanted to sort of get David with the characters that we wanted him interacting with as
Hmm.
soon as possible. And yes, we wanted to see him with Bianca, and I liked the scenes between him and Bianca. That was great, fine. But what we were here for was the stuff between him and Cindy, wasn't it? And oh my God,
Hmm.
did they deliver big time.
Brilliant.
I loved that he had no idea that Cindy was still alive because very often what you'll get, kind of similar to what he did with Kathy, he did turn around to Kathy and say, I'd heard you'd been resurrected. So I'm so glad that he had no idea about Cindy whatsoever.
Hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Isn't it weird
agreed.
though? Isn't it weird that we've got the scene of David discovering Cindy's still alive, but we have never received the scene with Ian discovering that Cindy's still
Ian,
alive?
I know when we had a little thing again when she were describing to David what happened that she just rang Ian. So we're supposed to believe that she somehow just acquired Ian's mobile number, rang him, and then that's how they reunited then.
Yeah,
Is that
I
it? Is
think
that the
I
story of
think
how they
yeah, I
reunited?
think the story that they've given us is the one that's happened. I wonder if at some
Right.
point they were going to sort of do something
Go
with
a bit
that, but
more in depth.
but I think now it's sort of a bit late now to be doing anything with that now, isn't it? But
Mm,
it's been long enough. And I
yeah.
feel like now it's more focusing on the relationship that they've got now, this messy relationship. Cindy is, at the end of this week, I've decided probably the messiest soap character I think I can remember in a long, 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 long time. And it's all by her own doing as well. Like
Yeah, I know.
she's not an unlucky person. This is purely by her own actions. All of it. She is.
She's she's got issues, hasn't she? Bless her. Hilarious though when you see Cindy stood in the Vic, and then you've just got Ian, David, George, and George Jr. all stood behind her. Brilliant,
That
brilliant.
was a beautiful moment. And one of those things
Yeah,
that, I feel like EastEnders can only really do because I think EastEnders more than any of the other soaps. I've said this many times, but EastEnders more than any of the other soaps has no issues going back over its own history and sort of study and
yeah,
like
very true.
bringing characters back and sort of looking at different relationships and seeing how they might have evolved.
Hmm.
Arguably, how would you say the Cindy and David relationship has evolved over the years? Because I think there's an argument to say that actually it hasn't moved forward that much because they are still clearly having feelings for one another.
That's what I'm going to say. I don't feel like it has evolved. And like Cindy said, it were like all of that happened 28 years ago were like yesterday for them. It
Yeah.
even felt like that because, like she said, oh, we've changed, but actually they still know who each other are. And I was actually though very surprised that it was David pining after Cindy and not Cindy
Mm.
trying to go after David. I was actually a bit surprised by it being that way around. I've got to admit.
Yes, but I feel like it would have taken that much more persuasion, if I'm honest. I really don't.
Oh.
I think if David had
That's what
sort
we're
of
hoping for. I
yeah,
wanted an affair on an affair this
I
week.
am
Come on,
in
Cindy, what are
fact
you playing
yeah,
at?
if any yeah, she's
Slacking.
slacking, isn't she? I mean,
Slacking.
that moment where she is proposed. I mean, let's just talk about Ian's proposal for a moment. Bringing in a barbershop quartet, marvelous.
God, yeah,
Why
I forgot
not?
about the proposal.
I want that. If you're going to propose to me, bring in a barbershop quartet. That'd be perfect. Whoever you are,
Noted, Rob. Noted.
even if I've never met you, I will accept your proposal at that very moment because to me that is if you want proposals with harmonies is what would get me going. That's absolutely fine. Do
Do
that.
you know
Yeah,
what, though? Fairness to Ian, he made that quite special for a
he
proposal
did.
in the Vic.
Yeah,
It was good, actually, yeah. We've got to give him credit there. Nice on Ian.
exactly. And it is absolutely mad that Cindy could turn around and see three conquests, just standing behind her, kind of shaking their heads disapprovingly.
Being like,
3.
what are you doing?
3. It's ridiculous.
Did it?
And even then, even and I feel like this happened even without the David presence, really, because David and Junior kind of came to blows. Expected, I think. I think you could see that those two were going to clash at some point. The main reason they seemed to clash wasn't because of Cindy necessarily; it was because of the stuff that had been going on with Bianca. Junior was giving it a bit of lip. David ends up punching him, and Junior sort of storms out. 5 minutes later, David walks out of the pub and sees Cindy and Junior snogging in the alleyway with the door wide open. They are not careful, these two, are
They
they?
are
At
not
all. They never
careful.
have been.
No.
Never have been.
That could have so easily have been Ian who
Anybody.
walked
That could have
out.
been anybody.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're lucky it was David, if anything.
There were so many callbacks this week though, weren't there? Like it's a really, really weird thing to be for me to remember this, okay? And I'm not entirely sure it was even intentional, all right? One of my earliest memories of EastEnders is the Cindy and David affair, their first kiss. And that first kiss they had was a really passionate one. And I remember because it was it's so weird. It's the first time I'd ever seen it happen. So I didn't know why it would happen. David was kissing her neck in that
I
first
did wonder
kiss.
if that was deliberate though myself, because it
Did you
seemed
see
odd
that?
that he was kissing her neck. I didn't remember
Yeah.
the moment, but I did think, why is he kissing her neck? So it probably was deliberate.
It maybe was, yeah. I mean, that
Yeah.
always sticks in my mind because it's the first time I'd ever seen anybody kiss anybody's neck, and I remember thinking, "Is David a vampire? What's going on? I don't understand why that
Why
happens.
is he kissing her neck for?
Why is he kissing her neck for?" Yeah, I was really northern as a kid as well. Yeah. So David sort of, I mean, what was David's motivation to this point? He wanted to sort of, what did he want to do? Get revenge? Or was he feeling petty? What do you reckon?
I think he genuinely, because I didn't understand why else he'd do it, but I actually think he was just like, Cindy, stop effing your life up, love. I'm not letting you do this.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you do this. You're older now. You should be wiser, but you're not. What are you doing carrying on? But to be honest, I think the camel that's the camel that's broke the straws,
the camel that broke the
the
straws
straw
back,
that broke the camel's back was
Massive
when she was
dromedary, that poor
describing,
hay.
yeah. She was describing to David that she still was in love with George and that she imagines George Jr. being George. I think David was like,
weird.
nah,
That's weird.
this is the line that's been crossed. I'm telling everyone this is effed up, Cindy.
Yeah.
Even for you. Even for me, this is effed up. I've got to tell everyone because that's weird. I think that's when David was like, nah, this is weird.
You are shagging a man's son and basically closing your eyes and pretending it's his dad. That's weird, Cindy. You need help. You need psychological and professional help, love. Did it surprise you? Did it surprise you when she turned around and said she was still in love with George?
It did, because if it had been a few months ago, I wouldn't have been as surprised. But we've not really seen much George and Cindy interaction, so I didn't actually think that she was anymore. Especially now she's moved on with his son. I thought,
I mean, that was the thing. I kind of thought that I have always sort of got that the Junior thing was very much a substitute for George at first, but I didn't think that she had been all this time. She was still sort of using Junior as a substitute for George. And just weird. To turn around to David and say, I'm still in love with George. And I genuinely think for a moment, there was a moment in David's head where it was like, who the hell's George? And then he remembered, like, just the numerous men. Yeah, the numerous men that Cindy has just sort of had some form of dalliance with. It's incredible. She is such a messy, messy woman. How she has the gall to actually turn around to anybody and say, well, I've changed as a person. I've grown up. That was a long, long time ago. No, you haven't, Cindy. This is literally 27 years later, and you're still talking. You're talking now to the bloke you had an affair with 27 years ago in the same vein as the sort of things you were doing 27 years ago.
About your current affair.
Yeah.
Like, against the same person you were having an affair. Oh, God, it's so...
Is someone going to get shot at some point, Ree? Is this where we're going with this? Is someone going to get shot? I hope
so. Do you know what, though, Rob? I love it. I love all of it. It's brilliant. I love Cindy. She's drama. Great. I just love it. I do.
She is great. It's just...
But even I was surprised when she was like, is a George substitute? I was like...
Yeah. That's messy. Messy.
That is messy.
Absolutely messy. So, and Cindy and David go back to the pie and mash shop and have a long old conversation. Beautiful
Mm.
dialogue by Simon Ashdown this week. Fabulous stuff. Love Simon Ashdown scripts. And I mean, Rob Gittins and Simon Ashdown this week both absolutely knocked it out of the park as far as I was concerned. There were some great moments for David. I wish he was around for longer. Hopefully, he'll be back again soon.
I do. That's what I wanted, actually. Yeah.
And just the sort of study of their relationship and sort of looking at David. I almost think that David started that conversation jealous of Cindy and jealous of the fact that she's marrying Ian. But I almost think
Hmm.
that by the end of the conversation, she talked him out of it because, like we say, she's basically confessed that she's having this really messy affair. Not even messy in terms of the logistics of it, but also messy in her own head and what psychologically messy as well. I think he was sort of like, you know what, actually, I don't need that. Goodbye. See you later.
I think maybe I do. Yeah, maybe I'm
Yeah,
out of it. I
yeah.
agree. I agree. I think then he was like, oh no, you're still very much messy, Cindy. Maybe
Even
not.
more messy,
Maybe
if
not.
any,
Thank
even
you.
more messy, if anything. I think, if anything, she's got worse. Like, honest
Brilliant
to
though.
God, it's brilliant.
I was
Um,
expecting David. Obviously we were having the David were getting these phone calls from Holly.
yes, yes.
I was expecting him to have a partner maybe in the background or something and him be questioning his own
Well,
relationship when he's seen Cindy, but it doesn't seem like he has, does
I
it?
well no, but I think that was very much what we were supposed to be thinking throughout the week. That it
Yeah,
was
of
like, yeah,
course.
some
Yeah.
woman's ringing David up. Of course she is. Like he's messing some woman around, poor cow. And that woman kind of kept getting in contact with him throughout the week, kept being reminded. And right at the end of the week, let's just discuss this big moment that happened. Um, Holly FaceTimes him, and there was a moment I was sort of like, well, am I supposed to recognize Holly? Like, who is this woman? Who is
Yeah.
this woman? What are we starting here? And then we discover that this is David's granddaughter, and her dad's here. Do you want to talk to him? There's Joe on the phone. Played by actual Paul Nichols. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. Well, even when she was like, "Oh, do you want to talk to Dad?" I was like, "Who's a dad? Who's a
Yeah.
dad?" It's.
I mean,
I thought David was a dad at first, and he'd had a
yeah,
secret daughter. That
yeah.
was my first thinking. Then she said, "Oh, Dad wants you to stay with us,"
Mm.
and then she puts him on.
Actual Joe.
Actual
Amazing.
Joe.
Love
Yeah,
it, love it, love it. Great, great, great.
yeah.
I mean, I would say the Joe storyline from the 90s is really, really underrated. If you want to have a look at schizophrenia, like played out in a soap opera, and it's not called Isaac, go and have a look at how it was really
All
unfortunate as well
right.
because that storyline was playing sort of concurrently in classic EastEnders at the same time as the Isaac storyline was.
Oh, was it?
Completely undeliberately, I'm sure, but it was sort of
Coincidence,
just like,
yeah.
oh, well, that's better, isn't it? But it was amazing that storyline, and Paul Nichols was incredible in it, and it kind of stuck around for a little while after David left, and then sort of left, and we never really heard anything about Joe ever again. So to have this moment of looking at Joe and it's like, you're doing all right, that's nice to see, and you're actually starting to
Yeah.
build a relationship up with David again. You've got a daughter, lovely, delighted for you, and
Mhm.
David's gone off to sort of see the rest of his family. And
Yeah,
that's gorgeous. I absolutely love
it
that.
is. I did
But
feel a bit
then,
sorry for Bianca though, because I was like, oh,
yes,
how long
yeah.
she's been in contact with his
This
other
is the
kid
thing.
then?
This
That
is the
seems a bit
one.
unfair.
Yeah, this is the one criticism that I think I would throw at the whole David stuff. It was that the stuff that the Bianca stuff kind of felt like it had to happen because David was there. Let's be honest, David was brought back for the Cindy stuff, wasn't he? He wasn't brought really
Yeah.
back for the Bianca stuff. It was nice that Bianca was there, but I feel
Hmm.
like if you're going to talk about A stories and B stories as far as David was concerned, the Cindy stuff was very much the A story and Bianca was very much the B story, wasn't she? So
Yeah.
they kind of did what
You
they
were
needed to do with the Bianca stuff, but
you were also expecting that he were going to believe Bianca and he didn't at all, did he?
I
Which was
was, yeah.
disappointing.
When he had those scenes with Reese, I kind of thought that he was going to work it out himself. Like, yeah, no, you're right.
Same.
She's right. You are weird. Like, you've got weird
Hmm.
ways. Yeah, I agree with Bianca. But I don't think he was that convinced by it. And I think that she didn't do that much to convince him about it either. So, like, they had these nice conversations. I think the fact that she was talking about Junior and everything that she'd been doing kind of just convinced him that she was having a bit of a messy time mental health wise. I did see a theory online actually. Now, you may well turn around to me and say that this is just an incredibly sexist theory. If it is, then I apologise. Okay, it's not intentional.
Go on.
But
Oh,
we
I know
just
what you're going to say.
is it the menopause?
Menopause.
Is it the menopause that she's
I
going
did
through?
wonder this myself. I did
Good.
wonder
I'm
this
glad
myself,
you
actually.
you voice it more than me, and then I'm not a sexist pig. Go on, you talk.
No, I've not seen this theory, but I did ponder it at one point this
Is
week.
it
So I was just
is it just
figuring
the
out,
because she's old
I
enough
was
for it
figuring
now,
out
isn't she?
Anka's age, and I was wondering, and I don't know, it could be. Maybe it is that. I don't know. I don't know though, but it could be a theory, yeah, certainly. But it even to me though, if it turned out it was to do with the menopause,
Mm.
then people should believe what she's saying about Reese more. Does that make
That's a very
sense?
no, that makes perfect sense. That's a very, very good point. They should. Because if especially Kat, if she turns around to Kat and goes,
Yeah.
so turns out I'm just menopausal, that doesn't tend to make people think that other people are murderers
Have
for no good reason.
psychotic thoughts like
Yeah.
people are trying to imply that she's
I've not
having.
got depression. I've not got ADHD. I'm not bipolar. They sort
I
of went through the
mean,
whole
she
list of it
may
this
still,
week.
but hey, she may still well have depression and
Yeah.
ADHD
Yeah.
alongside being menopausal because I know that I think sometimes hormonal changes can make ADHD type symptoms worse
Mm,
and certainly depressive symptoms. So it could all be
absolutely.
interlinked. So I hope they do. I hope they do go down a more medical route with Bianca
Mm.
because it's clear that there is, even though she's right about Reese, there is obviously still something going on
Something,
with her.
yeah. And it
Yeah.
actually feels like what that something is kind of still very much in the air at the moment, doesn't it? I don't think that we've necessarily had a real solid, like, yes, the whole depression thing has sort of been used for now, but I think they've then gone on to sort of use it as a very sort of broad term for everything that she's doing at the moment, which don't
Mhm.
really sort of ring true in a lot of ways. So I wonder if there is something more solid there, and depression is maybe just a branch of it. And I'm fairly sure that
That's what I
depression
think it is. Yeah.
can be connected to the menopause somewhere along the line because your body's
Yeah,
all over the place with
definitely.
the hormones and stuff, right? So, and
Yeah.
she's old enough to be going through the menopause, I think, isn't she? So,
Yeah, that's what I was figuring out when I had a thought of it this week, and I was like, she must be about 50 now at least.
yeah, I
That's,
think so.
menopause type of
Yeah.
age. So yeah,
Wait
I
and
wouldn't be
see.
surprised if they did go down that route, perhaps. Yeah.
Let's wait and see how that plays out. The very last shot at the end of the week. Did you predict it? Because I kind of did. I was like, there's a recording device in that shop,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
having this really long, detailed conversation about Cindy's affair and her mindset and everything that's wrong with Ian and everything that's
As
wrong with
soon
Junior,
as
actually, as well.
as soon as Anna and Freddie left the mic set in there at the pie and mash shop, I was like, it's obviously going to be recording. That was my
Mm,
first thought. As soon as they left, I was like, yep, all of this is being recorded. This is
yeah,
who's going to hear it, Freddie or
yeah.
Anna.
I tell you what,
Probably both of them.
if they're planning on having a Sharon Gate type moment where this recording is played to everybody, they're going to have to do whoever plays it will have to have done a hell of a lot of editing because that conversation was long.
Yes, that is very true. I would they though, because if it's only Freddie and Anna who are going to discover it, I can't
Mm.
imagine either one of them doing some big Vic showdown and playing it publicly. So it'd only be
No,
if Anna then plays it to somebody else who would do that.
exactly. So let's have a think about this. Where is that recording going to end up? Right now, there's no reason for it to end up in anybody's hands other than Freddie, really, is there?
Mm.
So where could it possibly go from here?
Ian, Ian, though, if he goes into the pie and mash shop first, but I don't see how he'd know how to get it to work
No, why would he
to be
play
able to
it?
play it. Or Peter, but then why would he
Mm.
play it publicly
Lauren,
either? Lauren,
Lauren knows about the. Lauren has an idea that something's gone on, and she's got a gem of an idea from the
yes,
crush.
yeah,
Maybe.
that's true. But do you know what though, Rob? A part of me wonders if Junior would do it on purpose and act like it were an accident and
Wouldn't
play
put
it
it
because
past him.
I thought he was very close to
Mm,
telling George this
mm.
week, and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
seemed
yeah.
like he wanted him to know. He seemed like he wanted it all out, didn't he? Because
Yeah.
it's very clear that Junior wants them to have a relationship now.
Junior has feelings. I said
Oh,
this was
shut
going to
up,
happen.
Rob. God, yeah, well done.
I
Yeah,
tell
you
you
did.
what,
No, you
do you
did.
know what's happening for 2025? A new feature of this podcast in 2025 is the I called it sheet, and we're going to do scores throughout the whole entire
Oh,
year and
that's a
tally
good
mark
one.
it off.
And
That's
with all those
happening.
silly theories that Ree has, well, guess what? We're going to
Yeah.
tally it up next year and they're all going to be right. And I'm going to have
Ree's
my smug moment.
Ree's riffing is going to be turned into tally marks next year. Let me tell you.
Yes, totally.
So great. I mean, this recording, fantastic. Yeah, classic EastEnders soapiness, soapy nonsense, marvelous. Play that recording in the worst possible time. God knows how they're going to make that work, and there's going to have to be a hell of a lot of editing done to the recording to make it effective, because there's going to be stuff in there that most people will not in the room would not understand. But you just need to kind of get it down to the bare minimum of
Really.
yeah, bare minimum of I've been having an affair. I don't love Ian. I'm not that fussed about Junior, and I'm still in love with George. That's all that really needs to play. We have
So
George.
messy.
We have George and Elaine's wedding coming up. That's a potential.
Yes.
We have
Yep.
Christmas coming up. That is the potential. And me and you have been thinking for a while, this feels like a Christmas reveal, doesn't it? It really does. And then, of course, the anniversary next year. There is ample
Nah.
opportunities for this to be revealed. I think Christmas.
Sooner rather than later, I think so. Christmas, yeah,
Mm.
I'm thinking Christmas.
Bring it on. Can't wait. Right, ladies and gents, we will now discuss the other sort of big story that was kicking off this week, and that was Kat and Tommy. The other big storyline that we should discuss this week for sure is Tommy and Kat. Been quite the while since this has been sort of really addressed like this, but we had violent Tommy again this week, and by God, did we get violent Tommy, or as we now know him, the little shit. Yeah, because he's a little shit.
Yeah, he is really. He really is.
Let's talk that punch, because that kind of I was surprised that kind of came out of nowhere, that punch, which is not only, I mean, yes, dramatically that's is how you do it. You shouldn't see these sort of things coming a mile off, but also worrying that he would lash out that quickly and over that
But
little as well.
also not that in no way am I excusing this, but I think Tommy was surprised by it as well. Like his reaction when he did it, he were a bit like,
Yeah.
oops. We're
Now the
almost
problem,
like, I didn't mean to do that, but I just did.
yeah, oh dear. But the problem with that now is that he wanted to go to Denzel's 16th. And I understand why Kat's let him go, because I think at that moment she was like, "Yeah, I'll go away.
I
I
think she
can't."
were in shock as well,
She
to
was
be
in shock.
honest.
She needed to have that moment where she stood in front of the mirror and looked at her bruise, because that's what you do in that situation. I think we've all done that. Just stood in front of the mirror and dramatically look at a bruise in the mirror. That's how it works. But she needed to have that moment, which is just like, I need you away from me. Off you go, so I can kind of process what's just happened. But the problem with
Yeah.
doing that is that he has received no backlash for what he's done. So
He's
effectively,
almost been rewarded, hasn't
he's been
he?
rewarded. Yeah, he's got away with that,
Mm,
and that's now going to snowball, isn't it? And
yeah.
once again this week, we had him threatening the boys.
Mm. I think Kat's been sussing something with the boys as well, because one of the twins, I'm sorry, I can't tell the difference, said that they only like football with the
After all
dad.
these
And she
years,
said, what
Ree.
about Tommy? I know, I should know by now. And she said, what about Tommy? And they said no. And I think she was like, why is that? You know, they used to love the big brother. What's happened to the big brother? So
Mm.
this all depends on how Kat goes about things. Is she going to cover for him? Because here you go, my smug moment. I said that Alfie'd go on this training.
Yes.
Alfie had gone this training course and Tommy
Yes.
had misbehaved. Would Kat tell Alfie when he
Mm-hmm.
gets back? I
Yeah.
don't think she's going to tell him, you know. I think she's going to keep it hidden.
Oh, I think she's going to keep it hidden for sure. But then I wonder whether Alfie will start to work out, because don't forget that Alfie's been on the receiving end of Tommy's violence himself. So
True.
it
And he
might
knows
not.
about it,
And he knows about it,
like from
exactly.
recently.
Yeah, so you kind of wonder if it would take Alfie that long to work it out.
Mm,
Little moment with Phil this week. I don't know whether that's worth sticking a pin in, that Phil is aware at the very least that Tommy is
yeah.
being unreasonable and stroppy and gobby, and Kat's not doing a huge amount about it. I wonder if that's
That was
something that,
deliberate, because why else
yeah,
show Phil witnessing it at all? So yeah.
yeah, because
Because
that
I
was,
initially said I don't think Phil will be involved, but now I do
yes.
think he will.
I think he will
Yeah.
be involved somewhere on the
All
line,
round.
because I remember, because the thing is he's been there with Denny and Sharon as well, hadn't he? So I think
Of
that this, we
course.
know that Phil goes apeshit over things like this, like because he went apeshit at
Mm.
Denny when Denny hit Sharon. So I definitely think that it would do this storyline and Kat good for Phil to be involved somewhere on the line.
Mm.
But the problem is Alfie then gets his butt hurt, doesn't he? Because he wants to be the one that saves the situation. He wants to be the father. And the problem is that Phil, I also think, would half blame Alfie for the situation as well, just because it's Alfie.
Yeah, because he can. But I also think that Phil would get through to Tommy more than Alfie, if I'm being quite honest, because
Oh,
Tommy
yeah.
idolizes Phil. So
Yeah,
it'd be
100%.
better all round if Phil did get involved, if he did get
Yeah,
involved. But then you could imagine that Kat might just get defensive and say, Phil, but out. It's got nothing to do with
yeah.
you.
But
So.
then you've kind of got that difficult thing where, right, let's be honest, right now, Tommy has zero respect for either Kat or Alfie, does he?
Hmm.
And if
No.
and the only person that he has any respect for is Phil. Now, if Kat and Alfie are going to keep pushing Phil away because of that, that doesn't help anybody in their situation. They already are at the
No.
stage where they need help with this, right? They
Yeah.
are already at a stage where Tommy is punching his mother in the face and then sort of and trying to steal from the calf and just being a horrific child, basically. And there's no way that what they're doing now is going to change that, surely. So, what is their next move? What do they do?
It's got to be Phil. Phil's the only person I
Yeah,
think who'll get through to him. That's got to
I
be
think
it.
so.
Is he still going boxing, Tommy?
I mean, I'd imagine so.
Because
Again,
if anything, they're
it's
just teaching him how to punch his mum better right
yeah,
now. So
yeah.
maybe that needs to
Not that on the
stop.
head, so to speak.
Yeah, not that on the head. There we
Nah.
go. Oh, ah,
Domestic violence.
ah. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I agree though. It's clearly not helped.
Yeah.
And again, this is something that but it's something that helps him spend time with Phil as well. So he's not going to want to stop doing that either. It's just messy. And I do think that Phil is actually and it's not Kat's not going to like it, and Alfie's not going to like it. But I genuinely think that Phil is the only one that might be able to alter the situation at the moment. And I
Hmm.
think for that exact reason, they are going to keep Phil away for as long as they can because they have too much pride in how badly they are in the eyes of Tommy that they are being
Yeah.
parents
Hmm.
to want to bring Phil into the situation. So long way to go with this, I think.
It depends as well. Is this going to be Tommy forever or is he redeemable?
Yeah, I we said this last week. I do wonder
Mm.
now whether this is now Tommy Moon. I think Tommy Moon might grow
I
up to
agree.
because like we said this week, what has triggered him to be like this? Like there's one thing being a stroppy teenager and another
Hmm.
being an abusive, violent thug to members of your own
Yeah,
family.
especially to his own mum. I've seen quite a few of our listeners actually online making Dot Cotton and Nick Cotton comparisons to this.
Imagine a
I think
year.
that's
Imagine a time when Cat turns into Dot. Oh, how has that ever happened?
no, but have you not seen the parrot? They're saying that they think that Cat will just be always standing up for him and saying, "No, but he's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
boy.
yeah,
He is a good boy deep down," and
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
else
yeah,
is going to be like, "Come on, open your eyes, Cat." And a lot of
yeah.
people have been saying they wonder if it's going to go down that kind of route,
I
which
can
does
see
imply
that.
that it'd be a forever change. Yeah, I
I can
kind of.
see that. Yeah, and let Cat turn to the
Can't see
Bible.
Cat smoking, chain smoking 40 a day in the laundrette
No,
when
but
she's
I what
older. But
but I'd
actually,
be but I'd be here
actually,
for it. I'd be here for it if
yeah.
she wants to.
Yeah.
Get her out the cat.
Vaping, maybe.
Yeah, get her out the leopard print sticker and cardigans. She'd be marvelous. I'd absolutely love it. There you go.
Mm.
So yeah, long way to go with this. I think I'm still really worried about the twins as well. I think something horrible is going to
Hmm.
happen there because I think there's a reason why they keep showing these moments of Tommy being threatening towards the twins. I don't like where that's going. My heart breaks for Kat at the moment because she is desperately trying to grasp onto that once sweet little boy that she remembered, and he's just gone, and he's hitting her, and he's being horrifically like awful to her in every
Hmm.
single way that you can imagine. So let's see where it goes. But yeah, tricky stuff. One little thing left to sort of discuss was Denise and Jack. That sort of
Oh
seems
yeah.
to, yeah, sort of still seems to be. Is that making a turn? Are they going to get back together again?
Well,
Or,
yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
yeah, or is the Chelsea reveal going to put an end
Oh,
to
of
that?
course. Yeah, probably. Yeah. As soon as he finds out about that,
Yeah, the fact
probably
that
will
Denise knew
be.
about it, right?
And then he'll think, oh, you were only trying to help because actually you felt guilty because you knew about
Yeah,
it all along. Yeah.
yeah. I
Although,
think,
can we take a moment for how awful Jack is and always has been about Penny and her disability as well, by the
yeah,
way?
right.
Because Jack was absolutely awful this week. And how does he not know what he was saying could be hurtful? Like, how does he not have this awareness? It's almost like he's in denial about the fact that he is responsible for Penny's disability.
This is the thing. Like, it's one thing to be insensitive about what you're saying
Yeah.
to your disabled daughter, but even more to be insensitive to your disabled daughter who is disabled because of you and your actions. Like, that's another level. And I am amazed that
Isn't
Penny even
it?
wants. I'm amazed that Penny even wants anything to do with him whatsoever. Like, if anything,
Yeah.
Penny is being by far the biggest adult in
The
this whole
bigger person.
situation. Yeah,
Hmm.
she
Yeah,
really, really is.
definitely.
Um, and she seemed really pleased that her and Jack seemed to make amends this week. And like you say, I think he's awful in some regards. The him and
To
Denise
Penny, he
thing.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be fair, like Jack has his moments with a lot of people. You know, he's sort of
True.
he's
But
all
he's
machismo and
consistently awful with Penny, though,
yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing we like more in this podcast than consistency in a character. So marvelous. Thank
There
you very
is that.
much. So yeah, I reckon the Chelsea stuff will put anything that's starting to reignite between him and Denise away again. I do sort of wonder why. I wonder about this because Denise was the one that was sort of pushing Chelsea to tell the truth. And yet now, do you think that now Penny and Jack are speaking again? Is she going to be like, do you know what, let's just leave it now? And Chelsea's going to be the one that feels too guilty to keep
Interesting.
quiet.
It could take that turn, definitely. It depends though, because the case is still not quite finished. We've still got one person in a critical condition. So it might all be
Yes.
a bit dependent on how everything goes down
Yeah.
that route, I'm guessing. Or
Yeah.
how Amy recovers as well, and whether Jack's there's still time for Jack and Penny to fall out again.
Oh, yeah.
So
There's at least another.
see how it goes
Yeah.
on that front, I'd
That could
guess.
happen next episode, couldn't it? I think it's interesting that
Literally.
the Jack and Penny relationship. There was a kind of a period where I was sort of like, I don't get why they've brought Penny back. I was struggling to see the point of her as a character, but
Mm,
now they've sort of, this is what happens. You get impatient as a viewer. You want everything like laid out for you immediately,
yeah.
so you know what you're going to get, don't you? And it's wrong of me to think that because I kind of get this whole thing with him and Penny, with Penny and Jack now. And it's sort of interesting to sort of study their relationship, sort of look at how Jack sees Penny's place in the family. Like clearly, right now,
Mm,
he puts Amy above everybody else, and
yeah,
then probably
definitely.
Lauren, and then maybe Penny at the bottom if she's lucky, you know.
What about
So
Ricky? Probably
yeah,
Ricky above Lauren,
yeah,
but
exactly. Ricky above Penny. Like
yeah,
she is basically the bottom of the food chain as far as Jack is concerned, and he
yeah.
consistently makes that perfectly clear to her. So
He sees her as the bad apple, doesn't he? And
yeah,
because she's got herself into trouble, and it's like this week for me made me go, oh, I understand why
mm,
Penny is Penny.
yeah,
Actually, if you look at
absolutely.
this as what she's had to deal with from her
Yeah,
dad, who's
100%.
created all of this. So yeah.
I would like to see this whole thing between him and Penny about how he was the one that is responsible for her being disabled, for her being in the wheelchair. I'd
Mhm.
like to see that really like brought to kind of forensic detail and looking at what exactly that is doing to Penny and sort of look at and have her proper have a go at him about that and sort of really
Yeah.
go in on him and look at him trying to defend himself because I don't think he'd be able to. It's impossible to defend that. And the fact
I
that
think
he's
he'd
been
try though.
I think he would try. Yeah, you're right. But I think
Mm,
even the fact that he would try is reason enough in itself to sort of want him out of your life. So
yeah.
I would like to see that studied more. I'm looking forward to sort of evolving their relationship and looking at how that's going to progress. So that's going to be good. Gold Star Wreath this week. Who are you giving it to?
David, you can't
I
do
knew
it.
you were going to do that.
Giving it to
Fine,
David.
I'll give mine to Cindy then in that case.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean, it was
yeah,
always going to go
fair.
that way, wasn't it? David and Cindy. I
Yeah.
mean, Michael French, you absolute star. I have loved every second of having
Come
David back this
back. We
week.
want
Please come
more.
back more regularly. I love David so much. He is probably up there with one of EastEnders' greatest male characters. I absolutely
Yeah.
love David. I want him back ASAP. So make that happen, please. So final bit of this week's podcast. There's been some pictures floating around. It's a massive spoiler siren. So if you don't like
Huge
spoilers,
spoiler.
huge spoilers potentially. Um, but if you don't like
Hmm.
spoilers, now is the time to leave the podcast, okay? Because
This is your
now
spoiler warning. We have warned you. We
you
are going
cannot.
down spoiler
Yes,
territory.
you cannot whinge at us for talking about spoilers, but we've given you this much warning, all right? But we feel
Nino,
that
Nino, Nino, Nino.
this is worth discussing, okay? So
Yes.
let's now have a look at the photos that were leaked apparently this week. Let's the spoiler sirens continue to ring out as we talk about what we potentially have coming up in the coming weeks. If you've missed this and you don't mind hearing potential spoiler details, it would seem that the Knights/Carters have a funeral approaching. There is a very big
Mm.
reason that we're talking about this. We wouldn't normally do this, okay, but we feel like this is potentially something that might be worth discussing. The pictures that have been released would suggest that Linda is being killed off because in the pictures you have everybody that we would expect there, Elaine, and but we also have Nancy and Lee there with Johnny. So everybody that should be there for a Linda type funeral, and also tellingly, Linda is not in any of these pictures.
And also, Elaine's wearing pink earrings, and I think
Yeah,
Nancy's wearing flamingo
yeah.
earrings. So, come on.
And it all seems to be kicking
Yes.
off like there's a picture of Nancy slapping Elaine. I mean, for a start,
And
exciting that we're
Johnny's
gonna.
drinking out of a hip flask.
Yes, which is ironic, really. So
Totally.
potentially, let's even just discuss the fact that exciting Nancy and Lee back for a bit. That's going to be nice. That's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do not think, and there's quite a few people online have sort of twigged to the fact it seems very odd that we have not heard that Kelly Bright's leaving the show.
Yeah.
I do wonder if we're set for another little fun twist of the format, and this is going to be a bit of a what if situation. And we're going to have a look and see what would happen if Linda was to continue drinking. And ultimately,
Oh,
it
okay.
it would kill her. Because I cannot see any reason why else they would film a fake Linda funeral, right?
Do you know what my theory is? That it's all just fake and it's just to get us all talking about something
Could
because
be.
Nancy and Lee are probably back and they don't want us to know the real reason. So they've just staged these photos. Because remember when the sick stuff were happening, they had some Keanu scenes from an
Yeah.
airport that weren't real and him talking to
Yeah.
Lauren. So
Yeah.
I actually think
Yeah.
the entire thing's staged, if I'm honest with you.
Interesting.
And I don't think any of it's part of any storyline. They're just staged photos because Nancy and Lee returning is going to get leaked and they're back
Mm,
for something else. But I don't know. I could
true.
be wrong.
Oh, it's interesting though. I like the idea of a sort of like, especially seeing that Christmas is coming up, and given the sort of the time period between filming scenes and them being aired, this would appear to be being aired around Christmas time, which would suggest
Mhm.
that maybe Linda is going to be visited by the ghost of Christmas messes, and it's like just have a look at her future, her
They'd have
past.
to, I don't know how will they pull that
I
off.
have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And the way that I've worded it there sounds like I don't think that is possible to pull off convincingly. However, this is Clenner's, right? I have faith.
True.
So something's gone on there. There is, put it like this: I do not think that Linda is being killed off whatsoever. So
Same.
something else is going on, right? There has to
Yeah,
be.
surely. Oh, for all we know, Linda's inside there and she's wearing all black and it's
Yeah,
somebody else's funeral. It's
yeah,
Mick's funeral or something, and
yeah. They've discovered his
we've come
body.
across his remains. Don't know why they're all wearing pink earrings. Maybe that were one of his requests
Yeah,
for
I want
Linda or
everyone
something.
to
Who
wear pink
knows?
earrings, even the blokes. I want them wearing pink earrings, please. No,
Why
because you
not?
know what? They wouldn't be pink earrings. They'd all be in pink dressing gowns if it was Mick's funeral.
I was just thinking, I literally just thought that as well. Yeah, yeah. Don't know.
Mm.
Something. It doesn't
Hey,
seem like it's what they're trying to show us, does it?
no,
I feel
something
like it's
is
too
going
obvious
on.
that it's Linda's funeral. Yeah.
Exactly. Something is going on. I'm very intrigued to sort of see what it is. And it looks like we will find out in the coming weeks. Marvelous. Right. That's it for this week, okay? Because the internet is sort of behaving itself and sort of not behaving itself. We're going to bring this to a close. But thank you very much for watching and thank you very much for listening. Remember, we're not here next week, but we will be back the week after, a day later. So we will be back not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. I think that's what we went for, isn't it?
Yes, that's
Yes.
right. And Rob, can I just say something?
You can,
Thank
Ree.
you for
That's
your
right.
commitment. Look at you. Look at you on location in Hong Kong.
I'm
Come
not gonna
on.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. There's a part of me that feels quite posh. I feel like Emily Maitlis, just on location, just showing off my posh hotel.
You do look quite posh.
I
I
love
don't
this
know why you
hotel
look more posh without the mic stand than when you have got the
because
mic
this
stand.
suggests the fact that I've hold the mic in my hand suggests on location, doesn't it? I feel like a proper
Yeah,
reporter.
true.
Robert Innes,
Mm.
BBC News, Hong Kong. That's got a ring to it, right? I could do that. I
It
could
has
do that.
actually. Yeah.
But thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can do any of the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on X and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and all your favourite podcast sites. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
Yes, you can indeed. We will see you not next week, but the week after. I look forward to it. See you then. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you next. Bye. See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.